Writer fights, or don't fight with Greg Daniels. Writer fights are always exciting and traumatic, and I get into them all the time. I am a confident writer, a hothead, and have a very thin skin for any criticism. This charming combination of personality traits makes me an argument machine on our staff. A halfway compliment my friend and the Office showrunner Paul Lieberstein once paid me was, "It's a good thing that you turn in good drafts because you are impossible to rewrite, Mindy." Thanks, Paul. All I heard was, "Mindy, you are the best writer we have ever had. I cherish you. We all do." I tend to fight with Greg the most. My friend and fellow Office writer Steve Healy believes it is because I am emotional and intuitive, and Greg is more cerebral and logical. Or, as I like to think of it, I am a sensitive poet and Greg is a mean robot. Our fighting is legendary. One time, late at night, our script coordinator Sean and our head writer Danny both brought in their dogs, and upon seeing each other, they got into a violent barking fight. Paul Lieberstein glanced over and joked, "Oh, I thought that was just Greg and Mindy." What do we fight about? I wish I could say they were big, smart, philosophical issues about writing or comedy, but sometimes they're as small as, "If we do that cold open where Kevin dumps a tureen of chili on himself, I will quit this show." We did that cold open, by the way, and it was a hit, and I'm still working at the show. I can get a little theatrical, which makes sense because, after all, I came up through the theater, said in my snootiest masterpiece theater voice. I will tell you about the worst fight we ever had. In a very heated rewrite session for the Season 3 episode Grief Counseling, I was arguing with Greg so much he finally said in front of all 12 writers, "If you're going to resist what I'm doing here, you can just go home, Mindy." Greg never sends anyone home or even hints at it. Greg is the kind of guy who is so agreeable, I frequently find him on our studio lot embroiled in some long, boring conversation with a random person while his lunch is getting cold in his to-go container. And he's a boss. I would never talk to anyone if I was the boss. I would only talk to my attorney and my psychic. So anyway, my very nice boss had just hugely reprimanded me. Greg suggesting I go home unless I adjusted my attitude was the harshest he'd ever been to anyone in the 3 years I'd been on the show. There was silence. No one looked at me. People pretended to be absorbed in their phones. One writer didn't even have a phone, he just pretended to be absorbed in his hand. I was so embarrassed and angry that I got up, stomped out of the room, stole a 24-pack of bottled water from the production office, kicked the bumper of Greg's car, and left the studio. This is what I get for trying to make this show better? I am a funnier and better writer than every single one of these assholes, I thought angrily. I pictured myself accepting the Mark Twain Prize for American Humor at the Kennedy Center, and all those other writers watching from home with the hope that I might acknowledge them, and I pointedly wouldn't. Instead, I'd thank Thalia, the Greek muse of comedy. I'd freaking thank Thalia over those guys. I drove to a nail salon in a mini mall a mile away and angrily sat down for a manicure. "Signora has the day off?" the woman soaking my nails asked me congenially. "Nope, I got kicked out of work," I replied. She stopped what she was doing. "Oh, you fired?" she asked, concerned. Hearing her say "fired" sent a spiky shudder down my spine. I looked at my soaking cuticles. I saw the soft hands of a babied comedy writer who had never known a hard day's work. Did I really want to be unemployed? Did I want to jeopardize this amazing job I had dreamed about having since I was 13? Did I really want to be a receptionist at my mother's OBGYN office, where I would need to learn Spanish? I immediately stood up, dried my hands, handed some cash to the puzzled woman, and raced back to work. I quietly entered the writer's room and sat down. My friend and fellow writer Lee Eisenberg looked at me quizzically and texted, "Where have you been?" I texted back, "The bathroom." Greg did not acknowledge my absence or find out that I'd kicked his car, and it blew over. The bottles of water remained mine. Wahaha! That evening, when I had my nightly chat with my mother on the way home from work, I made the mistake of telling her about what had happened. I was hoping to get consoled for a bad day at work. Instead, she yelled at me, "Are you crazy? You owe everything to Greg Daniels." Mom always says Greg Daniels, as though there were a few people at work with the first name Greg and I might not know who she was talking about. There aren't. "Greg Daniels took a chance on you and changed your life. Don't fight with Greg Daniels." Dad got on the phone from the upstairs line, as he always does. He agreed with Mom. "I know you get upset, Min, but you have to be professional." I am still trying to follow this terrific advice, only somewhat successfully 5 years later.